Hello YouTube, I'm Andre Santana, and today I have a special topic. I want to talk about a group that I used to be a part of called the PFR, or Professional Rappers for long. On a site that was called Sploder. It has since gone down since Flash was removed in 2020. Alright, now to the meat of the discussion. PFR was called the Professional Rappers at first because we spent the first couple of months writing lyrics as rappers, but later on it became a role-playing group where, we kind of had like fighting scenes and we actually built a lore. And today I'm going to discuss that lore. Also take in mind we were 15 at the time and most of this story was written by a 17-year-old teenager, so it's not completely professionally written, so don't expect it to be like a top-of-the-line manga or anything. This is all in good fun. PFR was created in September 2011. It is now September 2021. Happy 10th birthday. Alright, now let's get into the discussion. Okay, so PFR has 13 stories. I will only be getting through 2 this video because the first story is lost in history, so I'll have to base it all off memory, and the second story is long enough to be 2 stories by itself, so it'll feel like 3. Alright, so now we need to start with the first question. Who is the PFR and what are they? The PFR are a group of elemental fighters, and how did this come to be? I guess I'll explain that a little bit because that's actually a whole other story on its own, but that's a later story called Origins of the PFR, but I'll give this explanation just to start us off. So, in the early times, there was a being known as the Elder Elemental. The Elder Elemental had the power of all the elements. It also had 3 beings in which it shared its power, which it also called its children. The elemental children would grant a small percentage of the elemental power into a mortal that they found worthy. After years of population, a planet of elemental mortals flourished. This world was known as the planet Origin. During a huge event, one of the Elder Elemental's children was lost in space. The child landed on Earth and buried its spirit within the first object it could find. The object was a shield that now contained elemental power. After weeks, a boy named Antonio Brown discovered it and kept it in his home. After a few weeks of treasuring the shield, the elemental child granted Cruz the power of lightning, and that is when the story of PFR begins. Alright, so now we're going to begin with the first story. Disclaimer, this is going to require some background knowledge of what PFR is already because I'm not going to explain every small detail that is in the PFR because there's a lot of stuff that I don't have access to. So if you're not originally a part, you probably wouldn't be watching this video anyway. But just in case you are, a little background knowledge is needed because I'm just summarizing these stories. Alright, story number 1. Around the year of 2013, a sudden outbreak of crime started showing up all around the region. Many descriptions concluded to a figure who jumped off into the darkness. Cruz recommended that everyone lock down their designated cities. A few days after the lockdown, Ko and Nino finally spot a dark figure in the act of the crime. After battling the figure and defeating it, their bodies fade off in the ash and they vanish. The team report back and conclude that whatever the figure was, they are not human. A few days after the discovery, mass earthquakes rumbled near the mountains. A small group traveled out to the mountains to find a massive titan-like golem inhabiting the area, and it's been slamming the ground. In groups of 2, they all go off one at a time to go face off against this golem, and only to be defeated. Once a member was defeated by the golem purified them and returned their stone statue to its cave. KO, Laws, Prince, Promises, Tyshawn, and Beats had all been purified and hidden off in the cave. Nino was the last one to take on the golem, even though he didn't have an element yet. While battling, he opened up a power within him that contained every element and blasted the golem into pieces and it faded into the ash. Nino then crashes into the ground as the power he once had faded away as he carried himself to go find the members in the cave. Nino grabbed as many stone statues as he could and carried them all the way to the Land of Promises. The Land of Promises contains a fountain that cures all status elements and recovers whoever is inside the waters over a period of time. While the members are unpurifying in the Land of Promises waters, Cruz returns with some news. After battling some of the strange figures himself, he learns that they are a group and they are following someone's orders. Shortly after the meeting, another outbreak of crime happened. Cruz sent everyone off to handle issues in different locations. Cruz sends Lost and Prince to go handle crime in Future City, Ace and Promises to Little Italy, and KO had a special request to return back to high school to go see his teacher Scotty with the girl he was supervising in his city named Jessica. Prince and Lost traveled to Future City to find the area destroyed. After further inspection, they found a raging spirit. After battling the spirit and sucking it into a poltergeist, they returned it to a library. The library owner Mia took Prince's poltergeist and put it into a device that allowed communication to spirits. Once the spirit spoke, it told how she died and why she was so angry. The spirit's name is Jasmine, and she died due to a building collapsing on her during the PFR Civil War. She was awakened by a dark figure and possessed with evil ideas and actions. Prince used his holy power to release the dark hold on Jasmine, and Jasmine attached her spirit inside of Prince to thank him. Learning from what Jasmine told them, Prince knew that one of the dark figures were behind the actions taking place in the region. On KO's travel at the same time to go see his mentor, Scotty, he traveled through the Trail of Frozen Tears. On this journey, he encountered 3 dark figures, the same ones that he encountered over the past week. The girl figure he battled with Nino, the massive golem, and a ghostly figure. Once KO defeated them, they turned out to be mirages and a person appeared in their reflection. The reflection turned out to be one of the fellow PFR members. Once KO reached the end of the trail to meet up with Scotty, she explains how she knew that these figures were popping up and they are dark personas of the current PFR members, and they hold the same strength as the member they came from. Scotty gave KO a power that linked him with Jessica, called Fantasy Form. It improved his mind and body and gave him a stronger connection to his element. With this power, KO can be a step above the dark figures that are attacking the region. After several weeks of battling against the dark figures, Cruz finds out where they're coming from, a dark universe called the Antiverse. The Antiverse is an exact replica of the region, but just dark. The Antiverse lacked light, so the members needed light contacts to navigate the area. While exploring the Antiverse, Cruz learned that the true nature of these dark figures, that they are called Supreme Elementals, a opposite karma of the element that they were created from. When a Supreme Elemental is born, it is lost within the Antiverse, left to roam all on its own. Zurich, Cruz's Supreme Elemental, leads the group to do evil, same as Cruz leads his PFR group to do good. In the final measure, the PFR managed to defeat as many Supremes, leaving roughly 7 left. Zurich leads Cruz into a tournament set in to stop the raids of crime. To end Zurich and his final members, they battled against the PFR. The final result, Cruz defeated Zurich and the other members defeated the remaining Supremes, all for one, that is, Leah, Bang's Supreme Elemental. She still had good in her heart and defected against Zurich and remained allied with the PFR. And that is roughly the end of story 1. A lot of portions were cut out, but the main portions are in there. Who are the Supremes, how they're made, and the influence that they had. When an elemental is created, the dark karma or whatever opposite karma of the current member goes off into the Antiverse. How Bang was evil when he got his, he was able to create a good Supreme. The story also explains how you can find out who Supreme belongs to who, as whenever that person faced their Supreme, you would get a strange feeling in your body as that Supreme had part of your soul within them. So they will also get a strange feeling. Alright, now on to story 2, Demons against the PFR. This story is long, so I'm going to break it into 2 parts. One's going to be the Gargola saga, and the other one's going to be the Isia saga. Alright, let's begin. Roughly a year after the battle with the Supremes, a new evil had arose. In February 2015, 2 new foes by the name of Skeleton King and Gargola had appeared in the region. With Skeleton King being freshly revived, he had to seek dark power to restore himself. The first location to hold immense dark power was Lost Entity's town. As Skeleton King crept around the city in search for darkness, he was quickly confronted. Bang had caught the scent of undead and started to question him. Skeleton King reveals that he knows who Bang is, and that he is the youngest of the vampire family. Bane knew Skeleton King was up to something devious and he battled him. Bane defeated Skeleton King very easily and got ready to finish him off, until a maiden walks by and Skeleton King absorbs her soul and takes it for his own power. The sudden burst in strength caught Bane off guard and Skeleton King was able to trap Bane inside of him. Lost Entity witnessed the whole thing and quickly tried to go warn the others. At the same time Skeleton King was attacking cities, Gargola was on the same mission in Hardwell. Gargola could only speak Spanish, so when KO and Jalen confronted him, they had no idea what he was saying. The members battled Gargola, but he was only stalling as he was draining the energy from Jalen's Dark City. Once he accomplished the goal, he flew off to Lost City, but Lost was too afraid to fight the demon and he fled the area. Prince arrived to confront Gargola and put up a good fight against him. Prince's holy power was giving him an edge, but not a win. Gargola eventually breaks through and burns Prince, and Julio jumps in and sprays Prince to slow down the burn, but Gargola slams them both to the ground with ease. A few days after, Gargola is still roaming free. Many members were missing at the time, so they were unable to stand against him. KO caught word that Gargola was spotted near Saffron City, and KO and Jalen were prepped in the city for his arrival. KO and Jalen fight against Gargola, struggling to hold their own. KO manages to freeze Gargola's tail and cut off a portion. In a blunt rage, Gargola creates a giant fireball that could wipe out the entire city. Jalen and KO were too worn out to stop the attack, and at that moment, Leah rushes in to save them. Leah gets blasted by the massive fire attack and dies in the process. In an instant rage, KO and Jalen dedicate themselves to defeat and kill Gargola. Days after the encounter, the team heard on the news that the Coliseum had been overtaken. The PFR knew that Gargola had occupied the area and decided to approach him head on. Prince, Julio, Jalen, Sasha, and Nino and KO battled Gargola in the Coliseum. The PFR fought defensively, all for KO, who wanted to fight at close combat. Eventually, an opening in Gargola's defense appeared and KO jammed his foot into Gargola's chest and pierced through. Gargola hits the ground and starts pleading. Prince pulls KO back and tries to change Gargola's ways and offer him a chance of redemption. Gargola then transforms using the darkness he stole from Jalen and bites down and crushes Prince in two. As the team witnessed Prince's death, the morale of the team started to fall. KO then bursts into a blind rage and unlocks a strange version of fantasy form. His hair was red instead of blue, and his speed and power increased dramatically. KO blindly slams against Gargola, causing a slight distraction, but not enough to beat him. While the team plans something, OKBeast jumps out and wraps a chain around Gargola's neck and holds him in place and tells the team that they need to act quick. Jalen then walks forward, talking to Gargola to make a gamble. Since Gargola was holding his dark power, he knew that his dark power would not attack him. The gamble worked and Gargola stopped moving because his dark power wouldn't attack his previous owner. As Gargola started to struggle, OKB started to lose his grip and his hold. At a sudden moment, a massive red blade appears in the sky, followed by the words, "Red Valkyrie Destruction Blade," and Cruz drops from the sky and slices straight through Gargola's neck. The team rejoices as Gargola was killed, but Cruz explained that he didn't come here by coincidence. Cruz tells the team that Skeleton King is trying to pull a bridge between the underworld open. The team regain themselves and then rush off to Twilight Town to stop Skeleton King. Once they arrive, Skeleton King had already completed 80% of the bridge and laughed at the team. Cruz rushes in and strikes Skeleton King and replies, "If he dies, Bang will die too." The team halted in place trying to come up with a hopeful solution. Suddenly, Prince returns from the sky with a renewed body and blasts a holy beam into Skeleton King. Skeleton King's body dissolves, dropping Bang, and the bridge he was holding starts to fall. Cruz then grabs hold of the bridge and struggles to pull it up. Prince drops down and pulls the bridge down and destroys it, closing the gate to the underworld. Prince explains his return was from a perk from his holy element. Prince can revive one time from death with a renewed body. And that is the end to the Gargola saga. Now for part 2 of the story. Days after Skeleton King was defeated, Promises and OKBeast run into a strange aura. The two confront the strange man with the aura, and once Promises lands an attack on him, he hits the ground and drops a card in front of Beats. Beats picks up the card and sucks him inside. The man then introduces himself as Ision, a demon from the underworld. He takes the card and crushes it, causing OKBeast to fly out in immense pain. Ision laughs and then flies off while Promises takes Beats to recover. A few days later, a serious incident occurs at the Land of Promises. Cruz and Julio drop in the area to find the cause of the trouble is indeed Ision once again. Julio mentions that Ision matches the description of the man who attacked Promises back a couple days ago. Cruz and Julio begin battle against him without many words. Ision starts to pretend to be clumsy and dropping the card on the ground. Cruz then strikes it with lightning and burns it as he was already forewarned by Promises of his abilities. Ision then gets very excited by facing the intelligent opponent and he transforms. He says he now goes by Isios. Cruz and Julio battle again with similar result. The team easily beat Isios by striking him in the side with a lightning bolt and causing him to flee. Cruz knew that he couldn't let a threat like that roam free, so he took the time out to go find him. After a few hours of searching, Cruz located Isios near PFR Tower. KO and Jalen joined Cruz to confront the demon and walked behind him. Isios was speaking out loud and confirmed that he was trying to reconnect the bridge to the underworld. The team battled Isios till he starts getting irritated, to the point he starts tearing up. Isios grabs his face and starts transforming once again. Isios now says his name is Isiamos. He turns into a more depressed form and his fighting style is slow and stiff, but it managed to get a hold of KO and Jalen easily. While KO and Jalen were stalling Isiamos, Cruz drops out of the sky and pierces him with a lightning bolt and goes straight through his body and knocks him down. Isiamos then pulls out his quote-unquote heart and then throws it towards the team. Cruz, KO, and Jalen are all hit by the bloody explosion and it paralyzes their arm movement. The team rush after Isiamos and chase him towards PFR Coliseum. Isiamos then discovers that Gargola's blood was on the sands and he breaks into another fit. Cruz laughs in the distance as he knows the demon was probably demoralized. However, they could not fight him in their current state due to their paralyzed hands. Isiamos then flew off in disappointment. Cruz took a few days to recover and for the others to also regain their abilities. Cruz called a meeting to all available members to meet in Rhapsody. KO and Prince and the newest recruit Sasha were the only ones to show up. While talking within the office, massive quakes can be felt from the outside. Once the team checks it out, and they find a beast known as Cerberus. Cerberus jumps down and attacks the floor. Cruz decides that they must take out the dog from the inside. Cruz, KO, and Prince voluntarily go inside the dog's mouth, and they blast it from the inside, causing all three elements to blast out of the dog's mouth, causing it to choke and fall. Upon victory, Isiamos appears over a building, surprised that the Hellhound was not victorious. Cruz then questions the demon, asking how did it get here. Isiamos explained that he found a way to get the bridge open to the underworld without the help of Gargola. He instead found the creator. Isiamos taunts Cruz, saying, "Enjoy these last few days as you know it. The demons will be taken over soon," and then he vanishes. Cruz took the words as vital and mandated that all members stay the night at PFR Tower. As Beats received the message from Cruz and walked out the hospital since he was in better recovery, he began walking. He sees a figure similar to Ision and he hunted him down. Isiamos was recording all the areas he planned to destroy on the long piece of paper. Beats then slashed the paper in half and challenged the demon in vengeance. Isiamos broke into rage as all his work was ruined and even started throwing a tantrum. He then started to transform once again. To Beats' surprise, the demon had transformed into a woman. The demon then addresses himself as Isia. Beats tags up with Silk, a guest character at the time, and defeats Isia with a tag team swing move. In defeat, Isia vanishes again and Beast returns to PFR Tower with the others. All the members spent the night at PFR Tower as they planned some type of strategy. Cruz requested that Prince go talk to the angels and ask if they can help defend against the demons. Once Prince returned, one of the angels said that they cannot interfere unless the demons do something law-breaking. Cruz was pushed into a corner as everyone fell asleep for the night. The next morning, Isia appears inside the tower and lets everyone know that overnight, she was able to reopen the gates of the underworld even further and freed numerous demons. The demons were roaming free around the region, and Cruz quickly sent everybody to go defend their cities. Each member had a different demon present at their city and each battled against them. After numerous hours, each member fell victim to defeat from exhaustion. Once they awoke, they were all chained up against a tree. Isia walked up to them and explained that the region they once knew was gone and burning to the ground. To the team's surprise, Medusa slithered up and revealed that Cruz was locked down in stone. PFR asked what is to become of them, and Isia answers that they will be swapping fates. The revived Gargola carried the tree of the members that were locked and threw them behind the gates of the underworld. The PFR slowly started to faint as they were unable to breathe. As they were suffering urgently, suddenly angels dropped down from the sky and confront the demon army. Isia had broken the rules of taking mortals to the underworld without death or judgment. Hercules dropped in from the sky and snatched the PFR members out from behind the gate and brought them back. The angels and PFR stood against the demon, and that began the War of the Divided. The battle against the demons shed lots of blood. During the battle, the PFR attempted to take on as many demons as possible. One of the angels then freed Cruz from his stone, making him able to fight again. After the second win of the war, it only ends with the elite standing on both sides, both teams very exhausted. Isia starts to worry as the demons may not win. Medusa then reassures her that the elite demons can handle themselves. As the battle goes on against KO, one of the other elite demons, he was knocked out in one punch and drops his lyric blade. Suddenly, a girl walks up and grabs the blade out of nowhere. The girl was Jessica, and somehow could control the element of ice, and the sword let her hold it. This shocked everyone because a lyric sword can only be commanded by the person who holds the elements. Jessica then changed form with an icy figure and then slashes down a demon who knocked down KO and helped defend the weakened PFR members. Jessica then wasted no time on the other elite demons and rushed straight for Medusa, the head leader. She locked them both in a cage so they both could fight one-on-one. In a forced encounter, Medusa battled against Jessica, but Medusa had the edge because Medusa knew that Jessica was angry and she couldn't look at her directly due to her stone ability. Once Jessica fell close to defeat, she stopped and calmed herself, but she knew she couldn't beat Medusa this way. She didn't suddenly burst into fantasy form. Seems as when KO learned the technique from Scotty, Jessica shared some of his power. Jessica then put all her power into one attack, causing a massive ice arrow to form. Looking up, you can notice Scotty's image up in the clouds as she blasts Medusa, knocking her into an ice statue form. Once Medusa broke out of the ice, she was surrounded by holy knights. The knights then forced her to return to the underworld along with the other demons that allied her. Once the knights flew back into the sky, the PFR celebrated briefly until they looked around. They had no home to return to. Cruz then suggested they use the dimensional portal to visit another land similar to theirs until they can figure out how to fix the situation. So the PFR traveled to another dimension after the end of the war. Alright, and that concludes Story 2. If you think things are weird, Story 3 gets things even more weirder and a lot more complicated because it now includes time travel. So there's actually a good little bit more to go over, but I think up to Story 5, I think things get a lot simpler. So we got a lot more to look forward to. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. We will recover some more later on. So hopefully this was helpful, and thank y'all for watching.